Composting at CMN starts in these silver buckets. So people can compost anything from fruit and vegetable scraps to coffee grounds, paper towels, junk mail, shred it up, put it in these lovely silver buckets. Then twice a week I go around and collect that in my lovely large blue bucket and weigh that so we can track how much waste we're diverting from landfills, and we bring that to these tumblers. So compost stays in these tumblers for a couple months until they fill up and we need the space, and then we'll move it to the 3-bin system. But you can see in this tumbler it's divided into 2 sections. So this side has some completed compost that's been here for a while. You can see that's really dark and rich color that will be perfect for our gardens. And this side has stuff that's still breaking down. So you can see some of these things that started sprouting in our compost. I've actually taken some of those out and planted them to see what they are. I have a hunch they're pumpkins, but I'm not entirely sure. So composting is great because it takes all these things that we would normally send to a landfill. So all of our like fruit and vegetable scraps that still have a lot of nutrients and things in them, but that we aren't going to eat. So when those go to a landfill and they rot, they release methane and other harmful gases. So what we're doing by composting them is we're going to use the nutrients that are in those and put it back into our soil. So you need a mix of brown materials and green materials. So all those vegetable scraps, fruit scraps, coffee grounds, those are our green materials. So those are really rich in nitrogen. And to balance those out, you also need brown materials. So that is our newspaper that's shredded up, cardboard that's shredded up, those sorts of fibrous things. Those provide carbon for our compost, and together with lots of different microorganisms, those work together to break down everything that's in here until you get this lovely soil amendment that you can add to your gardens and grow some beautiful food that we can compost again later. Going to collect our compost. We have 9 compost collection stations on campus. A lot of them are in office spaces, but some are in community areas as well. This is one of our 3 compost tumblers on campus. They are our second collection point after those silver buckets. We bring what is collected there and put it in here and turn it every couple of days, and in just a couple months we have pretty mature and ready compost. And sometimes that helps aerate all the materials that are inside to make sure they sort of mix up, and it helps them break down quicker. This one was just emptied pretty recently, so there's not a ton in here right now, but you can see there's stuff at different layers of our stages of breaking down. So we have lots of visible eggshells, but there's also some wrappers for some newspaper clippings. I think I see some coffee grounds, some avocado peels. So we just have a lot of stuff that's in the process of all breaking down. So here we have our 3-bin composting system. So after we've collected all the compost in our tumblers and they've been there for a while, and once our tumblers start to get pretty full, we empty those out and we bring them here to continue maturing. So here you can see 2 different stages of compost. So this bin has some newer materials that we just brought in. You can see some leaves and some paper and things like that, as well as some of that more of that organic material that hasn't broken down completely. And then over here you can see compost that has been sitting a lot longer. So again, you can still see some of those eggshells and things that take longer to break down, but this is stuff that's ready to go on your garden and add some of those nutrients back into the soil. Our empty bin right here in the middle that was all used at the beginning of the growing season to add to gardens and to raise garden beds and things like that for community members. So we also have vermicomposting here on campus, and that's just using worms to break down the food for us. So this works in stages. We have different trays, and as one tray fills up with your composting materials, you add another tray, and those trays have holes in the bottom that let the worms migrate to the next one. So here we have red wiggler worms. They're kind of shy, they don't like light, but we have about 1,000 here in this composting setup.